Ah yes, hello, it's Sussex Murphy here, and welcome to the Murphy-Furphy-Tipps Theatre Company for our production of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Now, obviously we can't do the whole film because there's lots of effect shots and things like that we can't really do on the budget that we've got. We've got basically a webcam and a few friends, so yes, we can't really do all of the really difficult bits, but I'll describe them to you, and just think of it like a radio show, I suppose, but you can watch us in the act. That sounds a bit dirty, but you know what I mean. Anyway, moving on. The first scene involves two yuppies, which are called Rick the Prick and Buzz. I will be playing Buzz, and Cousin Furphy will be playing Rick the Prick. And they'll be talking to the radio DJ Stretch, who is played by our very special guest, the WWE superstar, The Undertaker. And of course the radio station engineer, LG, which is played by our good friend, the Pirate King. So yes, on with the show. And I, BG Tipps, will be playing the part of the telephone. I have trouble disconnecting and suffer from pains caused by years of having my numbers smashed. Yippee! We are on our way to the biggest party in the world.
This is Stretch on the open request line on Red River Rock and Roll from the tip top of Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex.
Let's give Stretch a call. What kind of name is Stretch? Bring, bring. Bring, bring.
Red River request line, this is Stretch.
Yo, Stretch, you're on with the Buzz and Rick the Prick. And from all the senior boys at Wheeler High to all the senior girls who are so stuck up while you're on the road to nowhere.
Oh, you mean we're on the road to nowhere?
No, baby. We're on the road to Texas OU weekend in Dallas. You're on the road to nowhere.
Real funny, guys. You want to hang up now? You're tying up the line.
No way, baby. Hey, dude, check that out. It's at this point that my character, Buzz, spots what the Americans call a truck, but what Australians refer to as a ute. It's one of those sorts of half-car, half-trailer thingies that farmers and labourers and people like that drive, so that they don't have to put their messy tools in and sort of mess up the upholstery of their nice new cars. Now, Buzz and Rick the Prick decide to play a game of chicken with the ute. This is a game where one drives towards an oncoming car in the hopes of getting them to sort of drive off of the road and just kind of cause them a bit of embarrassment and possibly, injure them in the process. It's a rather silly game, really, but they're rather silly people. So, yes. Now, obviously, we don't have a car here, and BG Tipps would normally play this sort of character, but he's already playing the telephone, which is a more important part in this sort of scene. So, yes, not a lot we can do about that, I'm afraid. So you're just going to have to use your imagination. So they drive wildly towards the ute, while Rick the Prick fires his gun out of the window in the direction of the ute, and the yuppies succeed in getting the ute to drive off the road and do a sort of swerving action. Now back to the scene. Woohoo! That was great! You got that, baby? Hot ride?
Yeah, later, sport. Just hang up the phone, okay?
No way! We are on! Stretch tries in vain to disconnect the yuppies as she's grown tired of their mouldy old antics. However, nothing is working. She pulls at wires, but to no avail. At this point, she turns to the studio engineer, LG.
LG.
Arr, I'm trying, darling.
Arr. Don't call me darling. Damn it.
The yuppies drive off into the sunset as the radio station crew get more and more annoyed about the phone call that they are unable to disconnect. Apparently this was quite common in some rural areas, where the person who made the call had to be the one to end the call. If they didn't, then the other person would be stuck with their line tied up for hours on end until the person who made the call hung up. Oh, it's such a strain having one's lines tied up for hours on end. No one ever thinks about the poor telephone, Countless hours that I've spent waiting for some careless caller to hang up. Oh, it's such a pain in the posterior. BG Tipps, you don't really need to go this method on this. Oh, sorry, I really got into the part. I shall try to tone it down. Oh, Sussex? Yes? When do we break for tea? BG Tipps, you had 6 cups of tea before we started filming. Well, yes, and I'm getting thirsty again. Fine, you can take a break after we finish this scene. Thank you. Right, where was I? Ah, yes. So later that night, at the radio station, Stretch and LG seem to have finally gotten rid of the Yuppies, for now.
Yo, it's 8:11 Texas time on a Friday night. I know nobody's listening, but I got a shot of hot rock and roll for you.
Bring, bring. Bring, bring.
Red River Rock and Roll request line.
Hey, Stretch, it's the Buzz again.
Oh, no, not again. Hang it up, lame-o. Go call your mother.
Ooh, dirty. Well, this is for Rick the Prick, and he wants to hear Bright Lights, Big Titties. Wrong. I don't want to hear it. I want to see it. Bright Lights, Big Titties. You!
LG, can you get in here, please?
It's at this point that the Yuppies run into that same ute that they ran off the road earlier. Except now it's nighttime, they're on a bridge, and this time it's the ute that wants to play with them. You crazy? Back it up, pig fucker. Come on, hurry up, get out of here.
Arr, they gotta hang it up. Arr!
LG does his best to disconnect the call, but it's hopeless as they need the Yuppies to end the call. Meanwhile, the Yuppies are starting to get a little bit scared. It's at this point that we meet Nubbins and Leatherface. Leatherface will be played by our stunt coordinator, Dusty, while Nubbins, his deceased older brother, will be played by Geno Gorillacutty. Leatherface dangles Nubbins about like a sort of macabre puppet, before bursting out his trademark chainsaw and going to town on the Yuppie's car. LG and Stretch can do nothing but listen in.
Arr, that sounds like a buzzsaw. Arr! Hang up, hang up, hang up, hang up!
Rick the Prick shoots at Nubbins and Leatherface, but only hits the already deceased Nubbins, who died at the end of the previous film, leaving Leatherface to carry on chopping. Oh, can we do a carry-on film next time? Maybe, but now's not probably the best time to discuss that. Leatherface chops half of Buzz's head off, and the Prick is left screaming as blood squirts everywhere, courtesy of special effects wizard Tom Savini, the Sultan of Splatter, the god of gore. So as Buzz was the one driving, the Prick is now left in the car, alone, with no driver. And as this was the 1980s, driverless cars were essentially something confined to science fiction, and so he was just forced to sit there, watching his friend's brains squirt out, as the car came to a violent crash. And I would like to say that once I return from my tea break, that I, BG-Tipps, will be playing the part of the chainsaw. I can cut through literally anything. Steel, wood, bone, you name it, I'll give it a jolly good slicing. Thank you, BG-Tipps. You can go have your tea now. Yippee! It's tea time! It's tea time! It's tea time! I love tea! I love tea! Push pineapple, grind coffee! We now return to the radio station.
Arr, it just cut off. Arr. Did you do that? Arr, I don't know. It's, just dead air. Arr.
So it's now the next day, and the police are investigating the crashed Mercedes that the Yuppies were driving last night.
Didn't she go to AEW?
No, you're thinking of Mercedes Monet. This is a Mercedes car.
Why would they name a car after a wrestler?
No, the car company has existed long before she did.
So her parents named her after a car?
Well, your name is Undertaker, so I don't think you've got much room to criticize there, really. Anyway, you're not in this scene, so could you please fuck off? Go have a cup of tea with BG-Tipps.
Fine, but I'll need a bathroom break after that.
Right, where was I? You were arguing with the Undertaker. No, I mean in the film. Oh, right. I think you were just about to introduce Lefty. Oh, that's right, yes. Lefty Enright. He is the uncle of two of the victims from the previous film. He is a lawman on the trail of these mysterious deaths in Texas. We meet him as he examines the chainsaw marks on the doors of the Mercedes until he's interrupted by some other officers arriving. Furphy and I will be playing the other officers, and the Murfer will be playing Lefty. Get out of here, cowboy! This is an accident site. The area is restricted. No, it's all right, Lieutenant Enright. We heard you might be heading this way. Did you come over for the big game?
You know why I'm here.
Yes, sir, I do. Something about chainsaw killers. Your brother's kids were killed. But that was 14 years ago, sir. Way down in South Texas. Now these other kids, this is just an accident. A couple of wild Couple of wild punks out raising hell. Yep, one of those boys was so wild that he sawed his own head off going 90 miles an hour. Hell is exactly what they raised. No, sir, that information's off the record. You know, sir, this is always a pretty hairy week in Dallas. A whole lot of folks come to town who don't give a damn about football. They just want to go blood crazy for a few riot. You know what riot means. You were a ranger. If you go around promoting this chainsaw, try to speak plain. It saves time. I have the authority from the DA to put you on the next plane back to Amarillo. Will you just do that, son? I'd like to see that authority. I'm just going to ask some questions. Get in the news, see if I can find some information about this supposed accident, and maybe find some witnesses. I know some old boys down at the paper. We'll get the story out there for you. Lefty drives off, triumphant, having defeated the local law. Now we cut to the hotel, where drunken football, well, I say football, gridiron really, I think is what it's actually called. It's the American type of football, I suppose you'd call it. Yes. Anyway, fans of that particular sport that have had a bit too much to drink are causing a bit of a ruckus in the corridors. And a bit of trivia for you, one of the chappies that plays these parts in the film is actually the film's director, Toby Hooper. So anyway, this is the hotel where Lefty is staying, and Stretch has seen the article in the paper, and so she has come to meet with him to present him with the recording on a cassette. She offers to put him on the air, so maybe someone will hear him and come forward with further information. However, he believes that she will just get in his way.
I'm already in the middle of this. This is my chance to stop playing headbanging music and do something real. I don't need anybody to stand with me. You can't do it alone. They live on fear. They thrive on it.
I ain't got no fear left. And so Lefty sends away the only person who actually believes him. Now the next day, LG and Stretch are out on location at the annual Chilli competition. LG is mostly concerned with building a small house out of French fries, while Stretch is still thinking about the case. They are both completely oblivious to the fact that someone connected to those events is at that very competition, Drayton Sawyer, Leatherface's oldest brother. And the winner is Dallas's favorite caterer, and I think he's kinda cute, the last Roundup Rolling Grill chef, Drayton Sawyer. 2 years in a row, Drayton. You must tell us the secrets of your deliciously tasty chili. There's no secret, it's the meat. Now, I'm interrupting the show here to point out that we gorillas do not endorse the eating of animal products in any way. However, I would like to point out that no animals were harmed in the production of Drayton's chili. You see, in the first film, we meet the Sawyer family. They worked in the meat processing industry for many generations, but with new automation technology, they were suddenly all out of jobs and turned to cannibalism, partly as a way to keep food on their table, and partly to satisfy that bloodlust. Yes, this is essentially the point of the original film, really, or at least part of it. It was a critique of the meat processing industry. The Sawyer family treats their victims the same way that they would have treated the livestock that they were killing at the slaughterhouse. To them, they don't see this as any different. They aren't doing this in order to be evil. They're doing this because it's all they know how to do. Yes, they are monsters, but they were made that way, having spent their lives murdering animals. These films turn a critical eye on that concept. Famed horror director Wes Craven is said to have gone vegetarian for quite a long time after seeing the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and he doesn't seem to be the only one affected by it in that way. What's this? It feels like a tooth. Oh, that's just a hard-shell peppercorn.
So there's the big story. Texas clobbers Oklahoma in Chilli. This is Stretch, your fearless reporter, coming to you live from Dallas.
From here, we cut to the cut-right chainsaw shop, where Lefty has gone to acquire a few chainsaws, so that way he can go into battle with the Sawyer family. He tries out several on an old log outside the shop, with such vigor that the proprietor of the shop says the following: "Oh, my aching banana!" Having stocked up on weapons, Lefty then heads to the radio station.
Now this is very hard to believe.
I'd like you to play that tape, Missy.
Oh, you want to hear it now?
I want to hear it on the radio.
On your show? I don't think that'd be legal. FCC regulations and all that.
Well, you just figure out a way to do it, and do it. Bend the rules, I don't know.
Why?
'Cause the killers are here. Kill sites have been clustered all over northeast Texas these last 2 years. The police, they shy away from it. They call it accidents, disappearances. You got the last slaughter on tape. You play it on the radio. Maybe then the cops will stop trying to shut me up and start helping me. Besides, it gives you something real to do. Stretch goes into the radio station to prepare for that night's show, while Lefty sits on the stairs outside the studio. We then cut to Drayton in his food truck. Oh, we're number one. The Sawyers are number one. We then cut back to Stretch, who is now sitting in the studio, looking pensively at the cassette tape of the slaughter. Playing that tape may be the only way to catch the killers, but it's probably also going to get her into a lot of trouble with the FCC.
Oh, I remember those guys. I wonder what Stephen Richards is up to these days.
He has his own YouTube channel, actually, but that's beside the point, as that was RTC, this is FCC. Although the RTC was probably partially inspired by the FCC, but it was mostly the PTC. Isn't that the stuff that fetish clothes are made out of? No, that's PVC. So yes, Stretch decides to play the tape every hour on the hour for the rest of the night. One person not listening to the radio, though, is Drayton, who is still driving and singing to himself, "I told you, boys, and I told you. Don't call me on the phone, damn it." What's on the radio? Drayton tunes in to hear the tape being played, after which he yells at his brothers down the phone. For the sake of trying to avoid getting into any trouble, we aren't going to repeat the dialogue here, as it is a little bit politically incorrect. He pulls over to try and formulate a plan while we cut back to the studio.
This concludes our broadcast day. Arr, you're going to get into a lot of trouble over that tape, darling. Arr. LG, it was a request. LG, it was a request, right? It's listed in the logs as a request.
LG attempts to flirt with Stretch for a while, but he is rejected. After this, he heads off to get coffee. Stretch remains in the studio. She gets a call from somebody, but they don't say anything and just hang up. She then hears a noise in the office.
LG? Lefty?
Stretch goes to investigate. She sees something moving in the office and opens the door to find Choptop Sawyer. Choptop is the twin brother of Nubbins, who was absent from the first film due to being drafted and sent to fight in the Vietnam War. As a result of this, he has a metal plate in his head that he likes to pick at with a coat hanger, eating the scrapings of his own scalp. As luck would have it, our stunt coordinator Dusty also has a twin brother, who is also known as Choptop. So it only makes sense to have him play this role. Unlike the character, this Choptop used to perform in a circus, where his act involved juggling chainsaws, whilst riding a unicycle on a tightrope. One day he fell off and sliced the top of his head off, so this led to him having a metal plate in his head. He first saw the film while he was recovering, and was heavily inspired the character of Choptop because he didn't let his disability get in the way of what he wanted to do. Although our Choptop would never do anything quite so evil. So anyway, he's been known as Choptop ever since. I'd like to buy some radio advertising time. Oh, that reminds me, we haven't done the sponsorship announcement yet. So, yes, we should probably do that. So now, a word from our sponsors. Alright, it's the Works here with Tennis the Menace. And we're not in the actual film, so we've been asked to do the sponsorship announcement. So, okay. We're sponsored by Home for the LD Lee. They sell laser discs. So if you're into physical media of any kind, laser discs are really, really good. So why not check out our sponsor, Home for the LD Lee. I couldn't say it better myself. So if you agree with everything that he just said, then go to Home for the LD Lee for all your laserdisc needs. Thank you. So about that advertising time?
Are you crazy? We're closed.
No, but whoa. So this is Radioland, huh? You know, I know what you're thinking. This is weird, but I can handle it. You're my fave. Me and Bubba, my little brother, we listen to you every night. Music is my life. I get too embarrassed to phone in my request. It's too disembodied, you know. But since now we're here, flesh and blood, I can make a request and it can still count, right?
Sure.
Well, what about Iron Butterfly? You know, like in the Vita da Gata Baby, it is heavy. You know, I've never been to a radio station before. Maybe you could show me around, give me the tour.
A tour? Sure. But seriously quick, and it ends at the exit sign.
Oh boy, sure.
Okay, here's the tour. Oh, well, there's some musical instruments over there and a television set. Just over there. There's a sewing machine. And this is Mr. Kangaroo. And there's the exit sign. Tour over.
E-X-I-T. Exit.
Good night.
Oh, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Oh, hey, about my request. You know, that Lefty request record? I love that. What was that anyway? The Rambo 3 soundtrack? Gonna play it again? Hey, maybe I could get a copy of that. And you could autograph it to me, to a far-out fan. Hey, what's in there?
Record vault.
Oh, where you keep the golden oldies? And maybe some new music, too. It's at this point that Choptop turns on the light in the record vault, and Leatherface jumps out, seemingly from nowhere. Stretch is startled and runs away. Leatherface accidentally gets Choptop in the head with the chainsaw, but lucky for him, he is saved by the metal plate in his head, which gets a bit dented, but isn't completely destroyed as his skull would have been. Buzz, buzz, buzz! No, not me, you idiot! Get the girl! Leatherface chases after Stretch, while Choptop tries to collect himself after having taken a chainsaw to the head. Ow, 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 ow! He dented my plate! Nom flashbacks! Nom flashbacks! And my brain is burning! Leatherface, you bitch hog! Well, at least he didn't mess me up. Get that bitch, Leatherface! Dog will hunt! Dog will hunt! Stretch has locked herself away in a back room, behind a large metal door. Leatherface's chainsaw is useless against that metal door. And as previously mentioned, I, Beachy-Tipps, am playing the part of the chainsaw. Leatherface is roughly forcing me against the large metal door, but I just can't seem to get through. Meanwhile, Choptop is raiding the record vault, and LG has just returned from getting coffee.
I love my pickup truck more than I love my wife. Doop-doop-a-doop-a-doop-doo. Stretch, darling, you know the door's unlocked. Arr.
It's at this point that he notices Choptop.
Arr, what the shit?
Hey, lick my plate, you dog dick.
Arr, what the fuck are you doing here? You crazy-looking son of a bitch. Get out of here. Arr.
Leatherface, having heard the commotion, runs to the office and attacks LG with the chainsaw. LG falls down some stairs, and Choptop then starts beating his head in with a hammer. This scene actually took quite a while to get right. Actually they nailed it the first time around, but Toby Hooper was having so much fun watching Bill Moseley's performance that he just wanted him to do it over and over again. This meant that poor Lou Perryman, who was playing LG, would get covered in fake blood, then cleaned up over and over again. The line that made it into the final cut was, "Time for incoming mail!" But in another take, he actually sang, "If I had a hammer," which I actually thought would have been the funnier line, but anyway, Choptop continues his assault while Leatherface returns to trying to get at Stretch. He's still unable to get past the door, but if he can't get through the actual door, he's quite happy to make one of his own. We then cut between Leatherface causing chaos with his chainsaw, mostly sawing through drink cans, and Choptop bashing away at LG. Stretch is screaming her lungs out before eventually asking,
"Are you mad at me?"
Leatherface turns his chainsaw off, and Stretch decides to go for a rather unusual tactic in order to confuse Leatherface. She flirts with him. It's all a bit awkward, really. He starts putting the chainsaw between her legs, and as a proper English gentleman, I do I get a little bit hot under the collar around this part of the film. It's rather like those odd games they used to make us play at Eton. How do you think I feel? As the chainsaw, I'm not at all comfortable with being used as a metaphor for Leatherface's penis. In fact, I'm so uncomfortable right now that I might just seize up the next time he tries to turn me on. Yes, I can't say as I blame you. In fact, it does take a little while for him to get the chainsaw going again after the act, but eventually he does, and he goes back to destroying everything in the room, but he leaves Stretch, who is currently up in the corner, screaming again. Leatherface does a funny little dance before destroying the rest of the studio with the chainsaw. Then, after another funny little dance, he returns to Choptop, who has loaded his bag with the rarest records in the record vault.
"Hey, Leatherface, did you get her?"
"She's my fave, but she knew. Now nobody knows." "Hey, look what you did to my plate! Look what you did to my plate, you bitch!" "Hey, did you get her?" "Hey, I got one too! A bonus body! Look at that beef!" "Hey, help me get it out of here! Giddy up!" The brothers load LG into the back of the ute, while Stretch looks on in horror from a distance. Lefty is still nowhere to be seen, and so she decides to take matters into her own hands and follows them in her car. They end up at the Texas Battlelands amusement park. This is a place that Choptop bought with the compensation money he got from the army due to the events that led to him getting the plate in his head. He plans to turn it into a Vietnam War-themed amusement park, where everyone can experience what it was really like. I can't imagine that would be successful, as any sane person knows that war is worse than hell, but I suppose if you're a bloodthirsty psychopath, then you'd be rather in your element. The place is still in that awkward renovation stage, nothing is quite finished, and some of the old attractions are still there too. Stretch gets out of her car only to be chased by another car. She runs, but it turns out that it's only Lefty. However, as soon as she realizes this, she falls down a trap door. He tries to rescue her, but she falls even further down into a pit of bones. Lefty gets out his chainsaws and prepares to enter the Sawyer's domain. He runs in, screaming before slowing down and exploring the place.
"It's the devil's playground. I'm bringing it all down to hell. Bring it all down!"
Lefty starts carving away at the supporting walls and beams as he runs through the underground maze that the Sawyers call home. We then cut back to Stretch, who finds herself in the room where the Sawyers keep the dead bodies. We hear Drayton and Choptop arguing in the background as Leatherface enters, ready to carve up LG. Stretch hides as Leatherface gets to work, humming to himself as he goes. He has swapped out the chainsaw for an electric carving knife. His first priority is to remove LG's face to make a new mask. However, just as he's admiring his work, Stretch accidentally knocks something over, drawing attention to herself. Leatherface sees her and starts to caress her face. She pleads with him to help her get out of there, but instead he puts LG's face on her and forces her to dance with him. Leatherface ties Stretch to the wall and goes off to join the rest of his family. It's at this point that LG wakes up. He's a little bit worse for wear, but able to cut Stretch loose.
"Arr, don't be scared, darling. Guess I'm falling apart on you. Oh, shit. Arr.
LG,
I loved you."
We now hear the Sawyers arguing, and Stretch goes to investigate. Drayton is upset about the poor quality of the meat that they have provided, while Choptop is more interested in dancing around with Nubbins' corpse. Choptop also believes that this is the time to get out of the food truck business in order to launch his real dream project. It's what the people want! Nomland! Drayton is clearly sick of hearing about this, as he probably realizes that it's a fucking stupid idea, and also he is far too invested in the catering business, having previously run the We Slaughter barbecue in the first film. Interestingly, the barbecue being called Slaughter has led some people to believe that the family's name is Slaughter, and they are actually referred to as this in some films. But personally, I think that the Sawyer name works better, because they're going to Sawyer. Anyway, we then cut back to Lefty as he runs around, chopping down various walls and support structures in the hope of bringing the whole thing down. Drayton spots Stretch, but she runs away before the others can see her. Some booger just ran through here. Yeah, boss, some crazy booger. Drayton sends Leatherface to investigate. Meanwhile, Lefty stumbles upon a series of skeletons that have been displayed as a sort of macabre museum. Among them is a skeleton of a man in a wheelchair, his nephew Franklin, who was killed by Leatherface in the previous film. Stretch too finds the skeletal displays that line the walls of the winding corridors. Leatherface finds her and starts chasing her with his chainsaw. The roof is falling in on them due to Lefty's actions. Eventually, Stretch tries to reason with Leatherface. All right, let's talk. Are you pissed off? What about me? Listen, this is not going to work. It's nobody's fault. I just can't do it. Let me go. Leatherface shakes his head at Stretch, and she starts to cry. Then Drayton and Choptop approach. It's the DJ, my fave. That dirty thing? You told me you boys got her. Well, yeah. Leatherface already killed her once today. But look, she's red-faced. Bubba's been playing with her. Bubba likes her. Bubba's got a girlfriend. Choptop continues to mock Leatherface while he dances around singing, Bubba's got a girlfriend, Bubba's got a girlfriend, while Leatherface looks on, increasingly embarrassed. Is that true, Bubba? SCEX? And you had to find out about it that bad? Why didn't you ask me? It's a swindle, that's all. Don't get messed up in that. Help me, please help me. Leatherface leans in to comfort Stretch, but Drayton pulls him back. All right, Miss Priss, cut that out. Leave him alone, damn it. Bubba, you were supposed to finish her. Finish her now. Burn her like a rat. Burn her like a rat. Burn her like a rat. Finish her now. Leatherface refuses. Turn traitor for a piece of tail, huh? You got one choice, boy. Sex or the saw. Sex is, nobody knows. But the saw is family. Wait till Grandpa hears about this. Leatherface starts bashing his head against a nearby birdcage with embarrassment. Choptop knocks Stretch out, and we cut to her waking up at the Sawyer's dinner table in a chair made of human bones. Her hands are tied and she screams. Dinner's served! Hurry up! We got a lot of hungry football fans to feed. Hurry up! Grandpa likes to go fast. Always did. Come on. Time means money. You know, you're the first girl that Bubba's brought home for dinner. So this is a special occasion. Grandpa's looking forward to meeting you. 137 years old and still as fast as Jesse James. So don't you worry. Here comes Grandpa now. The Sawyers sing a funny little song about how much they love their grandfather, as Choptop and Leatherface carry him to the table. He is impossibly old, and in our production, he's played by our good friend, Chimpy. Grandpa's strict liquid diet keeps him as fresh as a rose. And that liquid that he refers to is blood. Drayton explains the origin story to Stretch, which I already went through earlier, so we'll just skip ahead. Any of the Sawyers could take out Stretch, but they believe that Grandpa is still the best killer, so despite him being barely able to move, he clumsily waves his hammer around at her, but it doesn't really work, and eventually Drayton knocks her out. But before they can do anything, they hear Lefty approach, singing a Christian song. Oh, I'll be up your flue in a minute or two, 'cause I know where to find it. It's around the front, and it's called your Murfer. That's not a Christian song. Sing that in a church and the vicar's head would explode. Oh, sorry, I don't know any Christian songs. I could do My Sweet Lord. No, it's fine, let's just get on with it. Choptop starts to sing along. I'll be up your Choptop. We're skipping the song. Fine. Boys, boys, boys. What the hell's going on here? Is that the American way of entering a man's home? Singing like that? Boys, you should never have been doing this. Who sent you? That chicken shit burrito man? Well, I don't care, that's right. It's a dog-eat-dog world, and from where I sit, there just ain't enough damn dog. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the damn kitchen. So, how much? Let's make a deal right here. Drayton offers Lefty some money, thinking that he's just someone from another rival food truck who he can buy out. I don't care who sent you. I am the Lord of the Harvest. Who's that? Some new health food bunch? Stretch starts to come around from being knocked out earlier. Lefty! Sister. Lefty starts to look very angry indeed, and he starts charging towards Drayton with his chainsaw, eventually getting him right in the bottom with it. Now those would be some serious hemorrhoids. And I, BG Tips, would like to point out that I am not playing this particular chainsaw. I am playing Leatherface's chainsaw, which has already gone into enough dodgy places, so I'm not going up anyone's bottom. Lefty frees Stretch as she runs away. Choptop chases after her, while Lefty and Leatherface have a really impressive chainsaw duel. Buzz! Is that the best chainsaw you can do? It sounds a bit like a tired bee. Sorry. It's not really a buzz, it's more of a grinding metallic sound. Oh, something more like Saint anger around my neck, he never gets respect. No, not Metallica, more industrial. What, like 9 Inch Nails? No, not musical at all, more just noise. Kanye West? No, just go grrr. Well, that sounds more like a constipated bear to me. Well, think of a constipated bear made out of metal. Sort of like a robo bear. Yes, exactly. Okay. Grrr. As the duel goes on, Choptop chases Stretch to the outside. Drayton complains about the whole situation while hiding under a table. The small businessman always gets it in the ass. Drayton drags Nubbins closer to him and takes out a grenade that has been stashed on Nubbins' corpse. Our grandpa makes it to his feet and tries to help Leatherface, but is less than useless. Drayton pulls the pin on the grenade, and we cut to Choptop and Stretch fighting. Stretch manages to smash a lamp over Choptop's head and is able to make it to the exit. The grenade goes off just as Choptop and Stretch make it to the outside. He chases her up this tower until they reach a room at the top, which is a sort of shrine to the Sawyer's grandmother, who is a mummified corpse, just sort of sat on a throne made of bones. Choptop has Stretch cornered and starts cutting at his own neck while laughing. Stretch notices that the matriarch of the Sawyer family is holding a chainsaw, and so she snatches it, upsetting Choptop. You killed her, you bitch hog! He stabs at her wildly as she tries to get the saw going. She does eventually get it going and gets Choptop in the stomach, causing him to fall back and fall into the bowels of the Sawyer's lair. She then replicates Leatherface's chainsaw dance from the end of the first film. And that brings us to the end of this film. We don't know if Choptop is still alive, as he has never appeared in anything official ever since. However, there was a movie made called All-American Massacre that was supposed to reveal that he is still alive. It was shot about 20 years ago and never been completed. Bill Moseley, who does play Choptop in the actual film, did reprise the role, and also reprised the role for a band called the Cornbugs. Leatherface must have survived somehow, as he's been in multiple films since. Drayton has only been seen once since this, but that was in a flashback. But that was after Jim Sedow, who played him, was sadly no longer with us. So Bill Moseley took up that role. But those are all stories for another time. We hope you have enjoyed our little reenactment. Thank you for watching, and now it's over to the Murfer for the official review of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 did divide fans of the original film when it was originally released, as it is a lot more comedic in tone than the original film, and there was quite a lot of dark humour in the original film, but most people didn't pick it up, so director Toby Hooper really wanted to emphasise it in the sequel. Some people really didn't like that, but some people really loved that. It has become something of a cult classic, and is actually a personal favourite of mine when it comes to horror films. Bill Moseley definitely steals the show as Choptop, but the whole cast does do an amazing job. It's probably not for everyone, but if you like movies like The Evil Dead, then I think you'll have a lot of fun with this one. Therefore, I am giving it the 4 out of 4 opposable thumbs up. Thank you for watching. I'll be back next week with a new episode of Murfer's Music Reviews. Don't forget to check out Home for the LD Lee, as well as our TeePublic store, if you would like to pick up some of our merchandise. I am the Murfer, and this has been a Murphy-Furphy-Tipps production of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Oh, hello, it's Cousin Furphy here, and I just wanted to say that the music you heard in this episode was all by our band, Furphy and the Murphys. So keep an eye out for that. We're bringing out an album next year. You'll definitely hear about it here. We've actually only recorded that one song so far. But yes, it's a jolly good time, and I think you'll enjoy it. So yes, thank you for watching, and thank you!